Hello everyone, welcome to this video. I'm Isa, I am now the co-host of this system and I'm doing today's video with Drew on Cocon because I don't know a lot about this topic. He took notes for me and he kind of helps me speak right now, so this video is about integration, how we would define integration and what our experiences are. So if you're interested in that, then stay tuned. So first I would describe what integration is. So integration in DID is when two alters come together to fuse together and form more than a fusion out of themselves. So it's not just them, it's kind of a new alter, but also not. So it's kind of confusing. And so during that process, when this kind of new alter is created, we call it a new alter because this alter can have a different manifestation of the features of the alters that were integrated. This alter can develop its own personality and also can have a new name. A name that is not close to the name of the integrated alters, a name that may be related to these names of the old alters, but also can go by the name of one of these alters. So it's kind of having a new but old alter, and this alter can have a different appearance. Then the integrated alters, the appearance can differ from little changes to looking completely different. So that's one thing. And also this alter has kind of both of the memories of, or can have both of the memories of the alters that integrated. Also, something very important is that integration is different, and it's not only different for each system as it is for each people who experience an illness or a feeling or just the things around them. It's also different every time an integration happens. It's different how the system reacts, how the alters react, the alters that are created, how the people around you react. So apart from that, it can also be different how long it takes to integrate. An integration can take days or weeks. Integration can also come very suddenly and no one kind of knew it will happen, so it can be a surprise, but it kind of can also be planned. So this is very complicated. Also, there may be signs for integration. For example, when alters in the system want to integrate with each other, or they talked about it, or they talked with the system members that they want to do that. But as said, it can also be a surprise, and it can happen so suddenly that everyone in the system is surprised or shocked, and integration is just hard. So you may think now that integration is very complicated and that I may not be very clear in what I mean, what I say, but I really try my best, and integration is very, very complicated. and that's why I try to talk about it. And so if you think everything I've said till now is complicated, there are lots of other things that make it really complicated when being in the system and stuff. So if, for example, the alter that was created during integration is now kind of like, this alter needs to find itself, it needs to find itself place in the system, it needs to kind of find and rediscover themselves. So who am I, what's my name, what's my age, how do I look, how is my relationship with the people in the system, what's my relationship with the people around us, and it's quite complicated. Also, I look great with a wig, right? Nice. Okay, never have seen myself with long hair, so I appreciate it. So it's hard for the new alter that's created, but also all of the other alters in the system need to adjust to this new integration. They need to kind of get to know this new alter, they need to get to know what their role is and what's with the relationship they have with them, and also what affects everyone. So the new alter that was created during integration and also the alters that were already existing, they all probably feel sadness and loss, because even though alters integrated, they're not there anymore. So there's a lot of sadness and grieving around that. Before I start with the next topic, I'll go change because I don't like this. Yeah, boy is back, and I kind of tried to change. I couldn't put off the makeup because there's no time, the camera battery is dying, so I just want to finish this video. From our own experiences, we have had 2 integrations in our system, and these were from Blueberry and Heat integrating into Blue, and from Scarlet and Asmara integrating into Rosie. And in Blue's case, it was, I think it took a while for the integration. At least for us to notice it was an integration. I think the integration as itself was very quick and didn't take so long. But our system, or myself realizing that someone integrated and Blue realizing she's an integrated alter, that took a while because our system was masked back then, and we were all kind of adjusting to being a system and having other system members and knowing they're not like imaginary, or knowing, okay, these are alters, I'm not crazy or whatever. It's quite weird, so we are kind of learning who are alters, who are these alters, am I an alter with my name and stuff like that. And so as they integrated quite after we were diagnosed, it was kind of very easy to adjust to it because we're not adjusted to anything. So it was very, very messy back then and chaotic, and so adjusting to something else, it was also quite messed up, so it was not that hard. So we kind of handled it very well. I know from Blue herself, she said it was a very confusing time for her, and she was quite anxious because she was also very confused to being a system and kind of having the memories of two alters, but after we learned about integration and other stuff, she was like, oh, okay. So I need to refilm everything kind of that now comes after this part, because someone deleted it. I realized it during editing and cutting this video for today's upload, so I need to refilm everything. I don't know if I can really redo it in detail because all my notes are gone and the ID kind of makes it a little complicated. Since I'm not really able to explain detail what happened or everything around it because I have no idea, I can tell you a lot more about how it affected like Blue, who she is right now. Like on the superficial things, like she looks a lot more than Blue as she does to Hiju, but mostly all of her like personality traits are very much alike to the ones Hiju had. So she has some parts of Blue and some parts of Hiju. To our recent integration with Scarlet and Esmeralda to Rosie, I can talk a lot more about it because Rosie made notes and she also talked to me, and when I'm filming right now I hope that when I say something wrong that she will correct me because she's quite near to the front. So in Rosie's case, Esmara and Scarlet were both persecutors, so persecutor protectors. These are kind of alters that want to protect the system, but they do it in a way that may not be good for themselves or the people around them or the alters around them. So both of them had a similar trauma and both of them kind of handled it very differently, but they wanted to integrate because they couldn't like handle it for themselves anymore. For myself, I didn't really realize what was going on. It was quite suddenly when Rosie appeared, but now after thinking about it, it kind of, I haven't seen Scarlet or Esmora for at least a month in the inner world, and for Scarlet that was quite normal. She was very quiet and like antisocial person, and she was a lot hiding in the inner world. But Esmora, you would notice her. She makes herself noticeable. She's very loud, and it was quite unusual for her to be gone, but since everything's quite messy and chaotic and stressful and a lot of other stuff affecting us as a system, affecting our body and everything around us, I had kind of no like mind or nerves to figure out what was going on. And both of them wanted to integrate. I don't think that they kind of like that they can just like decide to integrate and then it happened. But I think they wanted to integrate and they tried their best to make it happen. And Rosie came out how she is right now. She looks completely different than both of them. She has some personality traits of Scarlet, but not a lot. She's quite anxious and feels sorry for everything she does. She feels quite guilty and some other stuff, but she's definitely more able to handle the feelings that Esmara and Scarlet held and the trauma they held. It is a lot like she has kind of more strength to kind of deal with it in her way. I hope that is everything. I wasn't able to film anymore, so I will now go and let Isa finish up this video. It's me again. So the camera died and we had to recharge it, and in between someone removed my makeup, everything I did, so I have different now and it's not as pretty as before. Also, I accidentally deleted the pictures I wanted to put as a thumbnail, and they were with my pretty makeup, but someone removed it and I'm quite sad now. I also have no idea where the video ended, so I only have one sentence written on here, so just gotta read it to you. As they integrated, they formed Rosie in the way she is right now, and she is a protector of our system. So the roles the alters have can also change during an integration or after an integration. If you have any experience with integration, feel free to share it. I hope we could give you an insight in how that works from our point of view and how it worked in our system. And I hope you had fun. I hope you liked it, and we'll see you soon.